Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to Counselor's Couch 101. I appreciate your comments and your emails, particularly your long emails, because there's a lot of material in there from which to gain wisdom and knowledge and ideas to share. So, thank you for those. Please send them if you have any ideas or things you want to see discussed here. Um, Recently, a woman said, "I don't live with regrets." I thought that was a wise thing. However, I noticed that most people, or a lot of people I talk to, do live with regrets. That drives a lot of their anxiety and a lot of their depression, a lot of their unhappiness. Because not only do they regret the things that they've done, they regret the things that were done to them, and they also regret their position in life, where they were born, what family, what socioeconomic level, etc., where they could go to school. Regret all sorts of things that they had absolutely no control over. And of course, it does us no good to regret, right? We can't change it. And thinking negative thoughts in the present only affects the present. We can't change the past, can't fix the past, unless we take a new perspective on it. That's a different deal. What's the other sorts of things do people regret? Funny thing is, a lot of it has to do with children. Folks can regret having children too early, and other folks can regret having children too late or not having any at all. It's like we have to make choices in life. But folks who have children and then later on they say, "I had them too early," oftentimes they weren't settled enough in life, right? They hadn't gotten their career going the way they wanted it to go, right? And so at that point, they're with children now, they're working full time somewhere, and oftentimes going to college or further their education in some other way in order to improve their economic situation, right? And of course, the children are taking a lot of energy away from them, a lot of energy and time. And it's not that they don't love their children, they do, but it's a struggle. It's a really difficult time trying to balance all that and have the energy to keep going. If you're young, a lot of times you can bull your way through it. And this often falls onto ladies. I apologize for if that appears sexist, but it just really is true. The rearing of children still falls to women largely, and men usually just throw up their hands and they say, "I'll do the work, I'll bring home the money, but I don't know what to do with these kids," right? Falls to the ladies. So there they are, struggling away, working full time, coming home, taking care of their kids, doing all the chores, making meals, doing laundry, ironing shirts, etc., and trying to get an advanced degree in college. Difficult. So they regret that, or they regret the fact that they made those decisions at a time in life they weren't ready for it. The problem with that is it affects the children. I'm all about what happens to children because that's what forms the man. What was it? The saying, "The child is father to the man." That's really true, right? It's really true. The way we grow up, the way we are formed, affects us for our entire lives, no matter how long we live. And it's hard to change that. We can change our behaviors, oftentimes we can change our beliefs and all, but our personalities are pretty much cemented in. A lot of people struggle to behave differently than they naturally would. And, there's a lot of resentment behind that as well. They feel like they were formed in a particular way and they can't behave a different way. Or that is, if they do behave in different ways, it's a struggle. They have to go against their natural tendencies. They have to work against themselves and they have to pay attention 24/7, guard against the bad behavior that they don't want to do anymore. So those are the kind of regrets people have. I'm talking with a couple of people who are very interesting lately, talking with a couple of gentlemen who are looking back on their early lives and the way they were formed. And I tell folks, it's not about blaming anyone. I never want to blame parents. Parents do the best they can for you. But the way we are brought up and the gifts that we're given when we are being brought up, those things have a lasting effect. So we want to go back and look at that and say, okay, where do I get these feelings from? Where do I get these attitudes? Where do I get all this negativity, if I have any, from? And what do I do about it? And it helps to understand it, not to blame, like I say, but to say, okay, I get it now. And oftentimes, folks can release the negative feelings that they're carrying around with them about their early life experience by going back and looking at it and just spending time with it. I often tell people, I want to raise a lot of questions, just sort of mull them over and then let whatever percolates up, bring it to mind. What comes to the surface in your memory as you go through your week after we've had these conversations? And keep track of them and remember them and bring them here, right? Bring them here so we can discuss them, analyze the source where they came from, and analyze the effects now, and then sort of figure out what you want to do differently. What changes do you want to make? And then it becomes a discussion of how to make those changes, right? But regrets. So some people regret having children too early, and that sort of regret filters down to the children. They feel it. It's not that they feel that they've been hated, but at the same time, they don't feel like they've received as much attention as they would have liked. They don't receive as much emotional and physical support and things like that. And so they regret that, and then the parents regret it, and it goes round and around. There's a whole lot of negativity going there. So when someone says to me, I don't live life with regrets, I'd like to believe that were true, but I want to look into that a little bit deeper and see if it's really the truth of the matter, if we really can do that. Regarding people who don't have children, well, that is pretty self-evident what happens to them. It's the road they never took, and they often wonder what it would have been like. But they couldn't have done the sorts of things they did if they had had children, right? So they went out and lived a life, probably pursued a career. Maybe they pursued travel. Travel is big for people without children. That's the reason they don't want children, is so they can now go out and live life. They want to see the globe. They want to go places, do things, have adventures, try different things in life, take chances that they couldn't take if they were responsible for children. I'm thinking things like, hiking the Alps or bungee jumping or, hang gliding. Those things can all be safely done, but there's oftentimes people choose things that are rather dangerous. And oftentimes parents don't want to take those chances, knowing that they have children to care for. And even if they survive, but something happened to them physically, right? They think about how difficult it would be to care for those children if they had some sort of an ailment from an accident. And that keeps them from trying a lot of things, and then they regret the fact that they didn't have a chance to do those things that they missed in life. So regrets, no. Regrets don't, there's nothing we can do about them. There's no benefit to it, right? But at the same time, we can use that to discover what it is that's going on inside of us emotionally, and the dreams that we had that were fulfilled, that were not fulfilled, right? Regrets. A lot of people walk in regretting a lot of things. Most often they regret things that were done to them. Like I say, the condition they were born in, the sorts of people they were forced to surround themselves with when they're coming up. And they get mad at their parents. That's another thing that happens. People get mad at their parents for the way they raised them, particularly if they weren't raised in a way that they thought was beneficial to them. Maybe there were weaknesses in their character or their ability to go out and get things done because of the way they were raised. And they regret that, and they get mad at their parents. So how do we release all that? Well, once again, I say go back, look at it. Remember the source. Let it percolate up from your memory and your experiences, and then say, okay, that's the way it was, and it affected me in these ways, and what do I want to do differently? And also remember that we make choices in the moment based on the information that we have at the time, right? And chances are excellent we're making, mostly, I hope, the best decisions given the circumstances. If we had it all to do over again in exactly the same way, with the same circumstances, we undoubtedly would make the exact same decision. So we can't go back and regret that. We might regret the conditions that led to the decision. And again, we often don't have control over it. But we can't regret that we made a decision. In the moment, we choose and we move on from there. And we live with the result. So, lady says, I don't live with regret. Well, I hope it's true. I do, because a clear mind is a lot easier way to go through life and say, this is who I am. All these experiences made me who I am. and I rather like who I am. So a lot of this stuff wasn't fun, it wasn't pleasant, but at the same time, it shaped and formed my personality in the direction that I wanted to go. So if we look back on all our decisions and choices with that in mind, hopefully we can release the negative feelings we might have regarding any sort of regret, right? Regrets don't help us at all. If you can live your life without regrets, you're ahead of the game. But sometimes it helps to go back and think about it in order to be able to let go of it, right? What would you have done differently given the same circumstances? Chances are excellent you wouldn't have done anything differently, right? So there's no point second guessing it now. Just sort of look at the benefit of it. Every cloud has a silver lining, they say. Every negative thing has a benefit. It educates us in some way. So we made a decision based on what we knew, and we gathered new knowledge, and we would make different decisions in the future. Also, we can pass that information and that experience down to other people who are open to listening to it. So there's another advantage of having made mistakes or having made choices we weren't happy with the results of, right? Live with regrets? No, let's don't do that. But at the same time, let's see what we can do to improve our life by referring back to them, seeing where they came from, and seeing what would have been better had we made different choices. Don't live with regrets. I agree with that 100%. I hope you make that as one of your goals for the new year. Don't live with regrets. Be grateful for what you've learned and how it made you into the person that you enjoy being today. Thanks for stopping by. I enjoy meeting you here. I look forward to the next time. Take care.